Thank you for coming on Net Talk. I know it's very late at 10:45 in the night, and we have been trying to connect with you. And I have gone through your profile. The one thing I can say that a man has to have a romance with his work to be so successful, winning so much of award, Kotler Marketing Award, and then building a career out of it, then being an entrepreneur, and then joining back to work. It has something to do much more than the job that you're doing right now. It has to be a romance with your work, the passion that we call, and be where you are. I have also seen the author in you. I have gone through your various readings as well, the close observations that you have made at various points as well. And I don't know if an author has become a marketer or a marketer has become an author. That probably we will, explore while we do this interview. So welcome to the show, Ajeesh Venugopalan sir. It's a pleasure to have you at Net Talk, and we were really looking forward to have a word with you, understand your insights. Let people know about where you started off and how did you, build such a great career. This is a very serious time, as you know, in COVID. A lot of people are looking at, ideals like you, how to follow, make their career, because jobs are being lost. People don't know what's going to be there next tomorrow. And people like you, when they come, they definitely give a lot of hope to a lot of people, me among them as well. So, sir, for our audience who are going to be watching you after this show, we would like to understand more about you from your own end. Like, if you could give a small introduction about yourself, that would be wonderful.
First of all, Sachin, thank you so much for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be with you here. Um, so just to begin with, so I started with a very humble stipend of 5,000 rupees about 16 and a half, 17 years back. From there, the journey has been a roller coaster ride. It has been really, really exciting. To the Kotler Award in February 2020. That's a great achievement. I know the year hasn't been great for many people out there. For me, the year started off very well. I published my book in Jan 2020. I received the Kotler Award in February 2020. I think the mantra is to stay positive. There could be a lot of things happening around you, but you are what you think, and it's very important to keep your thoughts really positive, because your thoughts really turn into reality at some point of time. So your thoughts has to be really positive. That's what I would like to begin with, Sachin.
Oh, that's great, sir. So something about your career. How did you start? Because you said you started 16 to 17 years back with just a salary of 5,000 plus. And looking back, when you started off, did you ever think that you're going to be here?
Not really. That's what everybody says. I don't want to say that because I think aspiration is what keeps you moving. So I wasn't privileged to be in an IIT or an IIM, or I don't have a BA school tag with me. So having said that, the journey has been extremely tough for me. It hasn't been easy. So after finishing my MBA from Anna University, Chennai, I started with HCL with a small stipend of 5,000 rupees as a management trainee. I was selling PCs and Toshiba laptops way back in 2004. That's how I started. Been with them for some time, and then moved on and moved on and on and on, and keep striving, keep trying and striving to do better. One thing that you should know is learning should never stop. If
Yes.
you stop learning, then the growth may be a bit difficult for you.
Okay, that's good. So I've seen that you worked at various large firms at a very key positions. I would say I can go and say that you were the key decision makers in terms of marketing and communications, right? So what was it in you that you think I should go for marketing? Was it from a point of view of you understanding the creative side of it, or is it just you got an opportunity and you explored it to your full potential?
No, Sachin, see, opportunity doesn't come to you if you don't try for it. So you have to constantly try for the opportunity and the right opportunity. You make your calculated moves. There are times when you're stuck or stagnant at a certain position, and you're struggling to move out of that particular position and trying to get into the next best position. It may take a while. So there was a point in life where I tried my entrepreneurship, didn't really go well the way I wanted it to. Got back into the job, and then I was trying to make my next move from there. It wasn't easy because the world doesn't really accept a failed entrepreneur. There are hundreds and thousands of people talking about success stories, but what I think what we should also learn is from the failures. If I had been Sachin Kamte, I would have done stories on failures so that people can learn what not to do. See, a lot of people are trying to teach them what to do, but there are very few people telling the world what not to do, and that's very important to learn what not to do. So there were quite a lot of instances like that. Moving out of sales and then trying to get a hold of marketing, getting a break into marketing wasn't really easy at all. Thanks to Wipro, 2011, Wipro gave me an opportunity, and from there I took off a better marketing career. That's what I would say.
That's great, sir. So, jumping back from being an entrepreneur to the job that you were doing, how tough was it? How difficult was it? If you could let me
Extreme,
know what are the things
extremely
extremely.
difficult, Sachin. Extremely difficult. See, first of all, though India says that it's an easy journey for entrepreneur, ease of starting a business in India. I don't think any of those things are real. I'll be brutally honest. I know there could be people who may be upset with me when you are really honest about what you're saying. Setting up a company may be slightly more easier, but closing it is even more difficult. Right? Closing a company in India
Okay.
is miserably painful. You can start a company. It may take 1.5 months to 2 months. Register yourself with the ROC. Uh, then with the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, get the name ready. Start a bank account. Then you have put up a website. Maybe if you are in an e-commerce business, put link your website back to your bank account with a payment gateway integration, and then complying with the law. For example, GSTs of the world. Come so there are quite a lot of compliances, which is part of the law, which is part of the business law, the corporate law, as we call it as. And for me, the most challenging aspect was, as a student, I was never taught law. Even today, we don't teach law in schools. We don't teach law in colleges, right? Fundamentally, LLP Act of 2008, or maybe, Companies Act of 1956. And some of these laws are quite very outdated, right? There is no provision for bankruptcy in India. Right? If there is a bankruptcy, there could be thousands of people who will misuse it. That's a different thing. But for smaller players, having a bankruptcy code is very important. I think during the time of Raghuram Rajan, he tried to bring in something. I'm still not sure whether it has been implemented to 100% of it. So it's quite
Okay.
complicated. It's quite complicated to run a business.
Okay, that's great, sir. And then, how did you get into your positions? How did you get into marketing? I would like to understand. Now, you told that you started off with HP, started off selling with PCs and multiple things. Then you started off with your own marketing firm. Then you closed it down. Then you moved out to Wipro, right? During all this while, what were your thoughts going on in terms of marketing? Did you really think that you can make it through this job, or you might have to go back to sales or something like that?
So, such a small correction. I started off with HCL. You mentioned HP. Might be a slip of the tongue, but
Oh,
that's fine.
yeah. So
That's
sorry.
fine. It could have been a slip of the tongue. That's fine. I started off with HCL. Then I worked for McAfee. Then I moved into an entrepreneur for a while. Then I moved into Wipro. From Wipro, I left and became an entrepreneur again. Went back into Wipro, and now I'm here. All right. Coming to your question of how did I get myself into marketing? See, I was always fascinated with writing and the creative side. So every human has got the left and the right side of the brain. So science and humanities, if I were to put it that way, let's say the right
Mhm.
side is humanities and the left side of the brain is science. If I were to put that way, it's very easy to learn science, but it's very complicated to learn humanities. Multiple
Mhm.
reasons for it, because understanding human behavior has always been more complex. But at the same time, if you want to learn a formula, a plus b the whole square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab, even our prime minister can say that. But it isn't easy to understand uh, drawing. It isn't easy to understand filmmaking. It isn't easy to understand storytelling. So there is
Hmm.
an art side which has always fascinated me, and I wanted to get into marketing because of that. I wasn't getting the right opportunity until about 2008. Until when in 2006 I had a beautiful opportunity with this company called McAfee, where they deputed me to the US. They trained me in the digital marketing stuff. I was lucky
Hmm.
enough to work in the first campaign management solution called Unity MailDB. The solution doesn't exist today because it was taken over by multiple companies, and right now I think it's part of Unica, somewhere lying in IBM, right? So there was this company called no, there's this product called Unity MailDB where I started off my marketing career with. But then
Hmm.
I wasn't really keen on doing a rigorous or a monotonous mundane task. I wanted to do something new every given point of time, and some of this will reflect in my work, in my cartoons and other stuff. So what I've been trying to do is to try and bring out a new Ajish into whatever I'm trying to do every day, and
Okay.
that's what keeps me moving. If you ask me to do a monotonous job day in and out, I may get bored with it very fast, and that's my nature. So I always have strived to find a job which allows me my creative freedom, and it isn't easy to find that. So there are a lot of compromises that you make on the way, right?
Isn't that common for a marketers to get so bored of one single job because the creativity in them does not allow them to be stable a lot of time.
Not really, Sachin. There are organizations out there who allow you to experiment. There are organizations which allows you to fail, and these are kind of organizations that a marketer will love to work for, and quite
Hmm.
hard to find such companies. But there are companies out there which allows you to fail, allows you to do experiment, allows you to be yourself, allows you to be an entrepreneur while you're working. There are companies like that. I think it is very important for a marketer to look at the culture of the organization before he makes to before he decides to make a move into that company, right? So it is not always money. Money is very important, but it is not always money. I think the way I myself made myself marketer is in 2008 when I attempted my entrepreneurship stint for the first time. That's what really gave
Hmm.
me a break into marketing. That experience came my way, and I made my way into Wipro. And from Wipro,
Hmm.
I could take it off as a marketer. That's how
Okay.
my journey has been.
Oh, that's great. Now, you have seen the pre-digital era and post-digital era as well, as far as I know, right? When digital, or you could say digital was at the nascent stage, since you got trained in digital marketing by your own company where you were working. Could you tell me how was digital when it just started in India?
I think this was 2006 when I got into McAfee, where I got the first sense of digital marketing. At that time, they had beautiful campaign management system in place, an ATG e-commerce engine, linking it back to all their software products like your virus scan, internet security suite. I would say I was really fortunate to get that opportunity in 2006 to work for them. And they had deputed me in the US for a short while for so that I get trained on a few of these technologies and come back. And that
Hmm.
was the beginning of my digital marketing career. So I worked in Lyris List Manager, which is today called Lyris HQ, which is again a email campaign management platform, and probably a lot more than what it was in 2006. As I told you, I worked in Unity MailDB. That was again an email campaign management platform. So I have launched campaigns in multiple different languages, leaving Chinese and Japanese. Chinese and Japanese were
Hmm.
quite very complex languages for a single marketer to handle. But we used to get this English translated into German, French, Spanish, Hindi as well. At that particular
Okay.
point of time. And those days, McAfee had presence in 23 different countries. So leaving two countries, I would have probably helped them do campaign management for all the other countries. Largely US, UK, Germany, and rest the APAC market. No, those were times when there were piracies heavily running. There were no,
Hmm.
especially the Indian market. wasn't actually subscribing to a licensed product, right? Piracy dominated the industry at that particular point of time. Now it is controlled to a large extent. People are using genuine softwares, genuine licenses. So it's much more simpler today. But I remember after leaving McAfee in 2006, because I wanted to explore a lot more in digital than just doing campaign management. So I left them. And in 2007 onwards, I started exploring Google. That was the time when I think Google AdWords was launched, Google Analytics was launched. So I was a self learner at that time. I never believed in certification. I don't even believe in certification even today. I know a lot of companies will be upset when I say that, but I don't really believe in certification. If you are a learner, if you can learn it by yourself, I think it's just go out there. Internet is all yours. You can pull out materials from there, learn it all yours, all by yourself. And I've learned Google AdWords like that. I have learned Google Analytics like that. And at a later point of time, I as an entrepreneur have offered Google Analytics services to people. So that's been a very exciting journey. So from a traditional to digital transformation, I would say it all started in 2006. It was around 2006 to 2008, before the bubble bursted in 2007-8. I think that was a transition time for many marketers moving into digital. At least for me, that was a transition time. But I think 2007 to 2008 was a very critical time for marketers. A lot of them transitioning out into digital marketers, and today you find newborn babies also digital marketer. So that's how marketing has grown.
Yeah, yeah. Because it's a very interesting case. I had spoken to a couple of guys who were part of both post-digital era and pre-digital era. So they would say, in terms of digital, there was only a website first, and then as the years passed on, then came social media, then AdWords, then blogging, then a little bit now. So video is all over, right? So this is also part of digital as well. So, sir, when I look at your career, it's marked by very fantastic things, like you have won an award, which is a prestigious award. You have written books. It is not your passion. Marketing is not your passion. Can we call it as it's the love of your life, like you romance with the idea of doing marketing?
I would say, Sachin, creativity is my passion. And
Mm.
therefore writing and marketing goes hand in hand for me. So my passion is to do something new, create
Okay.
something new. My passion is of that of a creators. Though I don't do vlogging or I don't do cookery shop, shows on YouTube or anything. I express my creativity in lot many different ways. I do a lot of corporate films for companies. I have of late started doing a lot of cartoons, which gives me a little satisfaction. That helps me soothe my soul, right? So
Mhm.
I think um, marketing has got to do a lot with creative side. So I was, when I do my classes for MBA students, I tell them that marketing is traditionally taught as a management subject. Even if you learn Kotler's book, Kotler's textbook is called marketing management. Now my question is, why is
Mhm.
marketing taught as management? Why not as an art? Why not as a philosophy? Right? And why not as
Okay.
psychology? Because
Psychology.
yes, right, marketing can also be taught as a psychology. The reason being, see, a marketer's life starts with data and ends with data. So you need data to understand your target audience. Then you do all your
Mhm.
market research, do your segmentation, understand your audience well, understand the consumer behavior, right? Then you use your creativity. Then you use your psychological skills to come up with a creative
Mhm.
campaign. So you've done with your data and
Mhm.
analytics part, then you use your psychology, then you use your creative ability to come up with a campaign. And then that campaign is then disseminated using a lot of technology platforms like your Facebook or Google AdWords, or YouTube or Instagram, like the way we are talking to each other, right? So technology is also very important today for marketers. So it's an amalgamation of 4 or 5 different subjects. If you ask me, data analytics is very important for a marketer. Psychology is very, very important for marketer. Creativity has to be very important for marketers, and technology is very important for marketers. So if somebody who's really aspiring to be a marketer, then be willing to learn all the 4 subjects, because only then you become a holistic marketer. Otherwise, you will become you might end up becoming an SEO specialist, right? Search engine optimization expert. You might end up developing some websites. But if you want to be a real good marketer, then get into all the four subjects. That would be my
That's great.
advice.
That's a great, sir. This is the first time somebody is really opening up and letting their secrets out as well, how to be successful in marketing, really. And you have seen, as we mentioned in the last question, you have seen the pre-digital era and post-digital era. So what is the difference that you see right now?
Today, Sachin, everybody is a marketer. We live in a TikTok era, the way I call it. Anybody who's got a
Okay.
mobile phone is a marketer, right? Even before, even in
Okay.
a traditional world, everybody is a marketer. Everybody is a salesman. The first thing that a baby does after being born is cry, and the baby is crying for the milk.
Hmm.
So the baby is indirectly telling the mother that no, this is something that professors teach you while you do your MBA, right? So
Hmm.
there is marketing and sales that everybody does, knowingly or unknowingly. Now, post digital era, I think everybody is a marketer. There is a clutter of communication. There's no dearth of information. There's a lot of information dissemination happening using multiple channels, multiple technology channels. Right now,
Hmm.
uh, only an emotional information gets consumed by people, because when content meets emotion, it becomes a story, and when it becomes a story,
Okay.
people relate to it. If it's a dead content, you're just talking about technology, without knowing, without connecting it to a human, nobody's going to buy it, because even if you write a technical content, if you're trying to tell a technology story, it is purchased by a human. It is not purchased by a bot yet. I'm sure there will be a day when a bot might buy from a bot. I don't know. That day could come, right? See, when 1982, when the first Terminator was released, and then probably 1991 or 92, the second Terminator 2, Judgment Day was released at that time. Who knew that that day may be sooner or later going to come, right? And again, Sachin, this is all coming in from a writer's imagination. So having being a combination of a writer and a marketer is a deadly combination, I would say, because it everything starts with a human imagination, and then it spreads.
Imagination.
Yes, it starts with human
Yes.
imagination.
So, what's your imagination of a perfect marketer?
I think a perfect marketer should be sensitive and should be sensible. If you see, recently after the George Floyd death in the US, there's a lot of rioting happening, and you can see brands coming up and changing their logo into black. I would say that that is
Hmm.
a very, very mean way of branding. I think marketers should be sensitive enough and sensible enough not to do that, because all this while, where was that brand? Did they know that the black people exist in the world? So if you were to
Yes.
do such kind of a marketing, please inculcate that as part of the company's organization, company's culture. If it is not part of the company's culture, just for the heck of telling the world that okay, I'm going to change my logo into black, I think that is very mean. It's a wrong way of celebrating George Floyd's death, and I pity them. I think that's a very,
So,
very wrong way of marketing. I think a best marketer is a marketer who can be ethical, who can be compassionate,
mhm.
who is sensitive enough to what's happening in the world, and who's also sensible to promote the messages accordingly.
Basically, you're telling them they should not encash
They should not
this
encash somebody's
situation.
death. They shouldn't encash
Yeah,
somebody's death. It's very wrong. It's very
that's
wrong.
very wrong. It's time to be sensitive, and sensible. That's correct.
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
sir, that's great, sir. So, any fantastic case studies that you can share with us, your experience in terms of marketing, in terms of designing a campaign, or something that you can share with our viewers. A lot of our viewers are basically youngsters. That's where we are focusing right now. Or upcoming marketers, or people who are on the verge of finishing their education and getting into marketing, or finishing their MBAs or getting into marketing. For them, just for them, if you could share some of your case studies, one of your favorite case studies that you have worked out, that would be helpful as well.
Oh, I have quite a lot. See, if it is for students, I would say there was an interesting project that I did while I was with Wipro called Campus Arena, very close to my heart. That was a social learning community that we created at one point of time. I don't think it exists today. But we started
Mm-hmm.
this in December 2011, and it went on till 2016-17, and I left Wipro in 2016. So I don't know what happened to that after that. But that was a social learning community. We are talking about massive open online learning, massive open online courses. We are talking about e-learning and other stuff, right? So this was a project in itself, which we created to ensure that people who get onboarded, all the freshers who joins Wipro, are able to engage before they join us, right? So for example, you make an
Mm-hmm.
offer while they are in the sixth semester or while they are in the seventh semester, right? And then you have a certain period of time before they actually end up joining you. So probably a year's time or maybe year and a half's time. What do they do in that time, and how does the company really engage with the candidate whom the company has actually made an offer? So that platform was actually a very interesting platform, a very interesting case study, I would say. Which helped us improve the offer to journey ratio. We had a pretty good adoption when we started it off. But for some reason, after 2 3 years, I left that particular team, and probably the project fizzled out. But that was a very interesting project. I think I would say that Campus Arena, and thanks to Wipro for that, because Campus Arena started in December 2011 as a social learning community. Coursera was officially founded in April 2012. So Wipro was really well ahead in the curve from that particular perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But Wipro's core business was not into e-learning. Wipro was a technology company, and they continued to grow in a lot of other technology areas. But this was largely an internal project that we did to engage with students, a lot of students. And as part of that team, I was lucky enough to travel and go to a lot of campuses and talk to the D schools and B schools around the country. And I think kids are really passionate. The young generation are really really passionate. What what determines between your failure and success is your persistence, right? You fail
Exactly.
once. How much resilience do you have to stand up and run again? You fail the second time, can you still stand up and run again? You fail the third
Mm-hmm.
time, can you still stand up and run? You might fail 100 times before you succeed the 101st time. But what you really need to do is persistently continue chasing your dreams and be resilient to failures. Like the way the
Okay.
world is resilient to COVID. We are all working from homes today. We don't stop because there is a COVID out there. We still continue to
Mm-hmm.
talk to each other on Instagram, right, or on a video conversation like this. So we need to keep looking ahead and move on. And there are only two types of people around, Sachin, the good and the bad, and they will always exist. And the good, if you have learned all the stories, Ramayana or Mahabharata or any other epics that you've read, the good always dominates the bad, right? The good will achieve success over, victory over the evil. So you keep doing good. That's the mantra.
Yeah. That's great. So, a couple of important things that I wanted to ask you, like any message for our audience, especially during this COVID-19, for people who have lost their jobs, or people are getting passed out. How to give them a hope, where to do any course related to marketing. As you said, you believe in self-learning, but not a lot of people are able to self-learn themselves, because they are not able to understand certain technicalities of things and all. If they want to do anything in marketing, how should they start about
See, Sachin, when I started, it was a dot-com bust era. There were no
it?
jobs
Mm-hmm.
like the times that we are in today. And I'm here. You're talking to me. So don't get disappointed with what's happening out there in the market. Really, I think from an economy perspective, see, one, there has to be cash flow happening in the market. There has to be liquid moving in,
Mm-hmm.
right? Um, and there are and see, because of these things, my only worry is the purchasing power of the people are going to come down, and the moment people stop consuming, it's going to be even more complicated than what we are facing currently. um, so I think people who can afford to invest, and people who can afford to invest in new businesses. You have the Ambanis, Adanis, Tatas, and Birlas and Mahindras. of the world in this country. If if they wish and if they think that they can invest. I think people like them and people whom we have not heard of, who's got money to invest, they have to invest. Second thing is, the government has to try and get in more FDIs coming in, right? Which is likely to go and work in India's favor because of all these things that's happening. I think manufacturing sector and infrastructure will boom post this COVID episode is over, right? The vaccines are going to come out pretty soon. Like the way I'm not an expert in that, but some people are saying October, some people are saying maybe end of this year, some people are saying mid of next year, but it will definitely come, right? And moreover, to fight COVID, I think there are quite a lot of Indian home remedies which is working for a lot of people. Like consuming a hot water with turmeric powder and other stuff. Probably keep doing that, right? Keep yourself safe. That's the first advice. Keep yourself safe and be responsible. Don't go out. It's not just about you. It's about you giving the disease to 10 other people, right? So
Yeah.
be safe. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, see, there are the world that I see is, this COVID could open up a lot more self-employment opportunities, a lot more self-employment opportunities, which in a way is going to create a lot more entrepreneur. Some of
Hmm.
them from a self-employed mode, they may become an entrepreneur or may become a small businessman. So I think this is a great time for small businesses to be set up, and I think there will be a boom of that. So I think the people who are out of the colleges looking for something, stick around, try doing something on their own. I know it's quite difficult and complicated without some basic experience, but you can always seek out help from people like me or somebody alike, right? There no one is going to say no to a help. They're going to come out and help you. um, People have got lost their jobs. As I told you, you have to keep your uh, first thing is control your economic meter, right? Your outflows, control your outflows, and try to grab in independent consulting assignments. And for that, that's the reason we started off saying that everybody's a marketeer. Now all those people who are out of the job, think like a marketeer and become a marketeer, and that's when it's going to help you find something which will support your daily needs. And it's very important for you to learn a bit of marketing, some basics. Be active on the social media platforms and spread positive things out there in the world. Even I talk a few things which is reality, but that's not with an intent to spread any negativity, but I'm talking about the truth, which I think people around the world deserves to know. um,
Hmm.
now now the case is, if you are thinking positive, even during the toughest of the toughest times, thought becomes things. If you've read this book called Secret, it's an amazing book. The thoughts really become things. Think positive,
Hmm.
and that things will happen for you. So that's the only advice that I have. And I don't
Okay,
think
that's
I am
quite fun.
anybody to advise, Sachin. Thanks for asking, though.
No, no. People would really like to know. I am reading in the books. Salaries are being cut. I have observed it as well. People are losing jobs. A lot of the campus placement that is supposed to happen did not happen. So, if something positive from your end comes out, people like you who have been there, faced a tough time because you have started when it was a dot-com bubble back in 2000s. So definitely that's going to be helpful as well. So apart from that, sir, my only question to you would be like, as a digital marketer, what does it take for a person to be successful as a digital marketer, not as a marketer, as a digital
As I told you, right? Digital marketer is very, very closely linked to in understanding technology. Uh, you
marketer?
know, so a digital marketing should come up with, should have a blend of mind in learning technology. It's very, very important for a
Mm,
digital marketer. Right? They should be able to gauge how some of these algorithms are working. Nobody knows how these algorithms are working, but they have to relate to it and create their campaigns accordingly, right? They should know what is working and what is not working.
Hmm.
in the digital front. They should. There's quite a lot of technologies out there, quite a lot of marketing platforms out there, like your Adobe Marketing Cloud or Salesforce Marketing Cloud or Oracle CX Cloud and so forth, right? There are quite a lot of technologies out there. There are two ways that a marketer can grow in the digital space. One, as a digital consultant, where the individual helps in implementing a technology, marketing technology for organizations. So it becomes more like a mark tech job, right? On the other
Hmm.
side, it becomes a business applications, business practitioner's job, wherein you're a
Hmm.
business functional consultant and you're using the tool to practice marketing. So you can look at growing in either ways. But in both the ways, if you need to really grow, you need to understand fundamentals of how these digital technologies really work, and I think that's going to be helpful.
That's great, sir. So, as you had mentioned during the interview, like you have really helped a lot of the companies while you were growing up the chart as well. I would also like to understand: are you open to mentoring? Because when we're going to be publishing this interview, we're going to put your LinkedIn profile as well for people to connect and follow you on LinkedIn for tips. Because you keep publishing a lot of articles, writing articles. Are you open to mentoring as well?
I do that, Sachin. I've been see over the last 1.5 months. I would have done at least about 5 webinars for MBA students and faculties. So I do faculty development programs frequently, and I do student development program as well. So I'll be very happy to share what I know. So you can very well go ahead and put my LinkedIn profile out there.
Okay, that's great, sir. So, going
And by the
forward,
way, I have a
before.
webinar coming up tomorrow at 11 as well.
Okay,
Uh,
and if you could share those link on your Facebook or Instagram ID or your LinkedIn
that is
ID,
a
I would more than be.
Yeah, that is a specific college organizing that. I'm not sure if I'm authorized to share that with everybody, because
Okay,
it's that this particular college has invited me and no asked me to address their MBA students. So if you want to do something, I'll be very happy to come on and do this. This is the way I think all of us can give back to the society, and I will be very happy to do that, Sachin.
exactly, sir. So, this entire interview, what I see is not more about marketing that we had discussed, but it's more about the human touch. So, human touch. So, probably I can understand the sensitivity that you have towards the times that we are flowing through, right? We haven't discussed more on the technical parts as well as I would have liked to discuss, but then we can probably do a part two as well because I really want this interview to go right now because it gives a message, for people to be sensible and sensitive because that's very important. So, with that said, I would really like to thank you right now for for giving us the time to do this interview. We would definitely touch base with you for a part two because I know that there is a lot of technicality to be discussed, and we would like to publish this to our channel as well. In that, probably we'll explore the more creative side of you, the author, the writer, the romance of marketing that you have, and then probably let's set the pace very frankly over there because right now what you have said to due to COVID-19 and everything, I see a different sensitive side towards you because marketers are mostly fun, they set the pace for a lot of things, do stupid things you could say, but for us it's creative thing at the end of the day because we are thinking different in a different way, right? Steve Jobs was one of them because we are creative. End of that. That's right, sir. So thank you very much, sir, for being on Net Talk. We'll definitely look forward to connect with you. I think there's a lot to learn from you, and then probably we'll take it from there. Okay, sir.
Sure, Sachin. Thank you so much for having me on the show. Thank you.
So I had Mr. Ajeesh Venugopalan. I had him for a long time. We did speak about various aspects of marketing and digital marketing. We also saw the sensitive side of him. Uh, we discussed more in terms of the psychology of marketing, in terms of various aspects of the marketing, but not going in detail about digital marketing, which I would have loved to focus. But then, hey, sometimes it happens you focus on something else, and then you end up talking about something else. So that's how it is, and that's how marketing is. You make a plan, and at the right moment you just change the plan because there is nothing permanent about it because strategy just depends on what you want to do. You can come up with a grand plan, but when you approach, in terms of execution, it does go down. But having said that, we will definitely bring you a part two of that marketing journey with Mr. Ajeesh Venugopalan because there's a lot more to learn. He's an award-winning marketer, and who started off selling PCs with HCL, and then he started his own firm. Then he failed. Then he got back to a job as a head of marketing and communications in a very large IT firm. So that's something that we need to learn, and we probably would like to explore more on this one. So give me some time. So probably in the next season, or maybe in a month or two, I'll definitely bring one. And thank you for joining at Net Talk. Good to see, a lot of people are following me right now, and I'll bring more exciting interviews.